Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back here joined live with Tracy Whitmore as a therapeutic coach, as an author, founder of Indigo Journey. She joins us again here. We're going to dig deeper into the book a little bit further and so much more. Hailing from Vancouver, Canada. Welcome back. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you, Jill. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How's the weather in Vancouver?
It's a little wet.
Okay. Yeah. Same here in New York. All right. Wet and chilly.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
good to have you here. It's just one of the places on my bucket list, and I'm dying to visit. Hopefully one day. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know the contact. I got to reach out to you or go to Indigo Journey to get more details before I make travel plans. Um,
Absolutely.
well, tell us a little about what Indigo Journey is before we get started today. Give us a little bit of the background to the company, to you, and then we'll dive into today's notes.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jill. So, as you said, I'm Tracy Whitmore from Indigo Journey. And Indigo Journey is essentially a therapeutic and coaching service that is mostly for LGBTQIA plus adults and parents of LGBTQIA plus people. I do offer other general therapeutic and coaching services as well. But my focus is mostly around supporting parents so that they can show up for their kids as best as they can, and to support adults around their own healing journey and growing and developing within themselves so they can live a fulfilled and rich life.
Beautiful. And would you mind sharing the website, all forms of contact?
Yeah, so indigojourney.co, so no M on the end, is my website. And social media, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and it's all tracy.indigojourney.
Perfect.
Keep it simple.
All right. And tell us about your book. And we're going to break down some of that, right? Some misconceptions or
Yeah, great.
questions.
Thank you. So
There
I've got a
it
copy
is.
here for you.
Yes, beautiful.
So it's about you too. So reducing overwhelm for parents of LGBTQ plus kids. And the focus of the book is to offer the space for parents. Parents are often told it's not about you, it's about your child. You need to support your child. And whilst that's true, it is important for them to support their child. It's also not possible for them to just pop their feelings aside and show up as their authentic selves and be able to 100% support their child. So my focus is to be able to support parents to work through their own emotions, their feelings, any of the struggles that they're having, whether they're supportive or struggling to be supportive of their child. So that's the focus of the book, for them to be able to process their own experience of their child coming out. And there's lots of learning in there around how to support your child, but the main focus is to create space for the parent to be able to acknowledge their own feelings and work through those, because if they're holding those back, then they're essentially going to hold back some of their themselves from their child as well, and their child will pick up on that and read into what that means.
So you say, is it a phase? Is it a phase? Let's share a little bit about kids, teens, adults, all the above.
Yeah. So today I thought it'd be great to look into a few different areas that I cover in chapter 5 of my book, which is all about the thoughts and the power of our thoughts. Because, whatever we've got replaying over and over in our mind is going to impact our behavior and our feelings. So parents have a lot of misconceptions and or questions. So I chose 5 today to go over. And I say questions and or misconceptions because sometimes people are asking, like you mentioned, is it a phase? And sometimes people just believe it is a phase. So that would be a misconception potentially. Or the question, is it a phase? So we'll start with that one.
Perfect.
And that's regardless of whether their child is a young child, an adolescent, or an older adult when they come out. And there's different I guess, types of phases that parents might assume or wonder if it is. And so for kids, I mean, I guess that's kind of obvious. Is it a phase? Because kids and adolescents go through all sorts of different phases, as do adults, but I think we're a lot more conscious of the ones with kids. And then with adults, it can be, is it a phase because they've just separated from a partner, or is it a midlife crisis, or is it, an experience, a negative experience that they've had, and they're just responding or reacting to that. Kids, teenagers, it can be, they were going through this other phase that kids often go through, and it's just part of that, or they're copying their friends, or it's because they are exposed to this or that, on the internet, or whether it's in the school or anywhere else. And so the way I respond to people in relation to that question, is it a phase, or the belief that it's a phase, is, essentially, I can't know 100% whether it's a phase or not, even if I do know their child well. And often I don't, often I haven't met them. So I can't guarantee whether it's a phase or it isn't. However, what is important to keep in mind is, so what if it is? And the reason I say that is because if it's a phase, phases are short term.
Yeah.
It will pass like any other phase in their life. What is crucial in this time is that your child knows that you are there for them, that you are able to support them through whatever experience, even if it is a phase, that they are going through in life. And so, if it's a phase, yes, it will pass, and then you go on to the next situation. Your child then knows that you have their back. They know that no matter what, you will support them and you will love them. And they know that they can turn to you. So in any other circumstance where they're looking for your support or your understanding, or for you to hold space for them, they know that they can turn to you. So it's a gift that you're giving to your child and to your relationship with your child. The flip side of that is, what if it's not a phase? And that then means that, if you're able to support your child in that, they're going to have a much better chance at flourishing and developing and enjoying a fulfilled life.
Yeah.
If you're not supporting them because you believe it's a phase, and so you're there trying to change them or argue with them or convince them that they're wrong, then the message they're getting is, I don't have unconditional love and support from you, and therefore I can't turn to you when I need you. I can't rely on you for support, and I can't rely on you to have my back. You're not going to be there for me when I tell you something that's hard for you to hear.
Yeah.
And none of us want that for our kids. So what I encourage parents to do in this circumstance of their concerns around whether it's a phase or not, because I can't guarantee for them that it is or it isn't, is use me if I'm working with them, or anyone else who they have as a support, to talk that through and come up with strategies that they can feel comfortable with, that best supports their child through this potential phase, but more importantly, if it's not a phase, because the likelihood is that it isn't. And the reason I say that is because no matter what the age of the child, they are going to have put a lot of time and effort and thought and self-reflection into their decision to share this with you. They don't do it lightly.
Okay.
So by the time they get to share this information with you, they're going to be fairly sure that this is real, because let's face it, the reality for people is, when they come out or invite people in to the new information around their sexuality or gender identity, is that they're at risk of being rejected, having some kind of negative, discrimination or some kind of negative behaviors towards them. So they're not likely to share this until they're really sure themselves. That's why, generally speaking, I would say it's probably not a phase, most likely. So get some support for yourself, and please don't suggest to your child that it's a phase. If you have already, then you can, after hearing this, you can go back to your child and apologize and kind of self-correct that. And I work with a lot of parents around that, because by the time they get to me, they've often already said that and often already had lots of arguments, and that's part of the reason why they're reaching out.
Yep.
So trust that your child knows how they're feeling in this moment.
Yeah.
Because, whether it changes or it doesn't, this is how they're feeling in the moment. So that's the most important information I can give you, is trust that your child knows how they feel in this moment, and be there to support them in this moment with what they're telling you.
Tracy, remind us how we can reach you before we continue.
Yep. So through my website, indigojourney.co, O for orange, or tracy.indigojourney on almost all social media platforms.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Let's continue. And the book, show us again the cover.
Yeah, it's about you too. Beautiful purple.
It sure
Reducing
is.
overwhelm for parents of LGBTQ plus kids. And that's kids of any age. So no matter what your kid's age, this book will be helpful.
Awesome. All right. Well, we still have to talk more about the services that you offer too, right?
Yeah.
And helping parents and helping children through this all, because there's so much to it. And it's always good to hear, some testimonials of some families you've worked with, and how it works to work with you at Indigo Journey.
Yeah. So, I have a bunch of testimonials on my website. I haven't recited them. So, but generally, obviously, I'm going to say generally people are, well, not generally, all of the testimonials I have are people feeling that they've had the opportunity to really grow and deepen their connection or reconnect with their child. And that's what's the most important for me, for them to either reconnect if there's been some breakdown in their relationship, or to deepen their connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This person says, thank you for your time today, Tracy. At first, I was nervous about our session and sure what to expect. After only a few minutes, I was happy we were able to connect. The session was not only encouraging, but exactly what I needed as a mom of an LGBTQ plus member. This is all new, uncharted territory for me. I really needed to talk to someone with your experience and knowledge as we embark on this journey together. This person really appreciates it. Also, this other person talking about working with you, that you're very easy to speak to, very compassionate and calming and understanding. You know how to ask the right questions and to help them break away and break things down to much easier, more manageable form, and understood where this person was coming from. And basically, like, this is like having the cup of tea with you. Like, you're very comforting, warm, insightful. So people feel comfortable with you. What do you attribute that to? Is it your innate ability to, what brought you into this field? That's for people that don't not know. Maybe it's a good time to just recap that a little bit too.
Yeah. So I went into social work a little bit later. In life, I was studying accounting originally, and I was always the person that people would turn to for help, for support. I just seem to be that person with friends, with family, and sometimes with strangers. So I decided that maybe I should make that my profession. And fairly early on in my social work career, I had the privilege of being able to work full time with LGBTQIA plus young people aged 10 to 25, which then resulted in me supporting families as well. So I guess I just really connect with people, and I'm always told it's my voice. My voice is calming, and I guess I'm open, and I take people on face value, how they are with me, and understand that everybody has their own journey and their own experiences, which impacts the way they feel, the way they think, and the way they behave.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to go back to our notes for today? There's still more to cover.
Sure. Yeah. So one of the other questions that parents always ask is, are they old enough to know? And it's funny because I can talk to a parent of a 6-year-old. I can talk to a parent of a 20-year-old, and they will often still ask the same question, that or may have the misconception that they're not old enough to know. And often a statement is they haven't had X experience, and that's often to do with intimacy and connected to sexuality, but also, around gender as well. Parents feel like if they haven't had an intimate experience with somebody of the opposite sex, then they can't know what their sexuality is. And, if we just delve into that a little bit, it doesn't really make sense, because any straight people know that they're straight without having an intimate experience with someone of the same sex or gender. So, and we don't ask people who are straight, have they tried it with somebody of the same sex, before we believe them that they're straight. So it doesn't really make sense, but it is a normal go-to question for parents. And what I encourage parents to think about and try and get in touch with in that situation is, I think almost all of us had a crush on someone when we were really young, primary or elementary school. Mm-hmm. So thinking back to, what was your first crush? And who was that person? And how did it make you feel? Where did you feel that in your body? The heart fluttering, or feeling all gaga, or whatever, different people describe it in different ways. And how old were you? And often people are under 12 years old when they have that first crush, often much younger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the next question is, had you had any intimate experiences with anyone before that crush? Probably not, because usually you have a crush before you have an intimate experience. And so it's exactly the same. Knowing what your sexuality is, or having an understanding that your sexuality is different to what it is assumed by others around you, you don't have to have had the experience. And it's not about sex. It's not about intimate experiences. Like, it's not decided by your intimate experiences. And it is not solely about sex. It's about connection. It's about attraction. It's, like a bunch of different things. Of course, sex is part of it when you're old enough and you feel ready and you find someone that you are interested in going down that path with in a consensual way. But that's not where it starts. And I think that's part of the reason why parents worry, they're not old enough to know this, because most parents are feeling at least a little bit of discomfort when they think about their child and sex in the same sentence. They don't want to think about that. And you don't have to understand your child may identify as a different sexuality to what you had assumed for them. So that's answering, hopefully that question around, are they old enough to know? Yeah. If they're telling you this, again, support them with what they're telling you.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're about to run off and become sexually active, though they might, and yes, maybe there's a time to have some of those conversations.
True.
The next question that I wanted to address is, who's to blame? Often people are, thinking that they've done something wrong, or it's because of somebody else, or an experience a child had. And the truth is, I'm going to answer this one really quickly, no one's to blame, because there's nothing actually wrong with your child. Whether we're talking about gender identity or sexuality, there's nothing wrong with them. They've just shared some new information with you, and no one is to blame.
Yep.
Because this is just who they are and how they feel. And all you need to do is love and support them unconditionally in that. The next one that I wanted to address was how can I protect my child? We all know that identifying as LGBTQIA plus is not necessarily the safest and easiest path in life, particularly at the moment where we're coming up against a lot of unkindness, let's say, to say the least. And so what I say to parents, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that we talk through around this, but the key message that I wanted to share today is that kids who are, or kids of any age, who know that they have their parents' support and their unconditional love, ones that know that their parents have their back and that their parents are not, questioning them, doubting them, or trying to change them, they're going to do a lot better. It's going to improve their resilience, improve their strength. And if they know that they have a safe haven to come back to, like being home, whether they still live with you or not, they can come to you and know that they are unconditionally loved and supported, and they can feel safe with you, then that places them in a much better position to manage any of the struggles that they might face outside in the world. There are other things that I work with parents around when we get into the specifics of their particular situation. But the main thing is to know that is the key to putting them in the best position to be able to manage. And then the other thing that I really wanted to cover today is how will I ever remember new names and pronouns? And that's for trans and gender diverse, non-binary kids, their parents. It was International Pronouns Day this week. So this is a really good timing for that too. That was on Wednesday. And so parents, often struggle because it's change. And it's difficult. And, parents are often told, like, it's not that difficult, just do it. Maybe not so bluntly, but sometimes definitely that bluntly. And so what I want to say to parents is be kind to yourself. Approach this with kindness and compassion towards yourself. And also make a commitment to your child and your relationship with your child by making that commitment to focusing on making that change. I've got a bunch of different strategies in the book. I think I put the strategies in chapter 8, which is where repair is possible, where parents can practice and different things, putting if they're living at home, put their new name up on their bedroom door, different things like that to practice with friends and family who know their new name and pronoun. Make sure you're using it whether they're around or not is another really good way to practice. Being kind and compassionate to yourself is the key to allowing the frontal cortex to kick in and be able to make that change. If we're being really harsh and punishing ourselves or being really unkind, then we go into fight or flight really quickly, and then we're less able to focus on that. So approaching that, with the commitment and, kind of finding balance with that commitment and the kindness.
Awesome. Well, we still got 3 minutes left on the show. Did you want to kind of run through some of the other stuff? There's still some stuff here. We got time. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay, great. So, I mean, I guess the thing around the pronouns is being able to be honest with yourself, I think, and knowing that it's a challenge, but also you can make change. Okay. You can do hard things, knowing that rather than convincing yourself all of the time, I can't do this. I've known them as this name and that pronoun for so long, etc., etc. I think is a big one. Should I run through the different services that I have, or
yes? But hold on, what is International Pronoun Day?
Oh, okay. So International Pronoun Day is, it's exactly what it is. It gives an opportunity for people to practice sharing their pronouns.
When is it? Do you know?
Sorry, what do you mean?
When is it?
Oh, when is it? I thought you said what is it?
No.
So it's Wednesday. Wednesday just gone.
Oh,
So
okay.
2 days
Okay. So it
ago.
was this week. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So what often happens is the burden sits with trans and non-binary people to share their pronouns. And so what we encourage people to do on International Pronouns Day and every other day of the year, but having that special day gives you the opportunity to have more conversation, is for you to share your own pronouns.
Okay.
So when you're introducing yourself, it'd be like, hi, I'm Tracy. My pronouns are she, her. And then what that does is that sends a message to the other person that you're open and you're a safe person, so that they can actually share
cool.
their pronouns if they feel comfortable to do so. Yeah.
Got that. Beautiful. All right. And so what are some of the services you provide, Tracy?
So I provide one-on-one sessions of general therapy, coaching, counseling, health and wellness coaching for the general population, as well as specifically for LGBTQIA plus adults and for parents. I've got several programs that provide support for parents, ranging from really simplistic basics, really short online course that just gives them an overall of what it means to be LGBTQIA plus and a little bit around what they might be feeling, right through to a handheld, personalized coaching program that guides them through anything and everything that they might be experiencing. So it's I guess an extension of the book, kind of on steroids. It's an 8-week program, and then there's a few in between there as well. And then I also offer a program called Transform Your Heart, which is for LGBTQIA plus adults and or parents. So I do them as individuals or group sessions. And so if it was a group session, you would be with, if you're a parent, you would be with other parents. If you're queer yourself, then you would be with other queer folk. And it kind of hones in on what the specific needs are for those individual people and groups.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we are just about out of time. Any final points you want to add?
Yeah, I would like to just remind or encourage people to understand that repair is always possible. It's never too late. And we will go into that more in our next conversation. I'm going to go into that in more detail. And the other message that I'd like to really reinforce for people is that it's important to practice self-compassion along this journey, whatever part of the journey that you're on, because that's going to place you in a much better position to be able to do the work that you need to do and to, build or rebuild your relationship with your child.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you. And remind us again of the website.
Yep. So indigojourney.co, O for orange, no M on the end. And social media is tracy.indigojourney. So that's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Have a great day, Tracy. We'll
Thanks
talk
so much,
soon.
Jill.
Enjoy
See
your
you
weekend.
next time.
You got it.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Same
Thanks.
here. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.